Hey, welcome to another episode of the Parish Life Podcast. And today we've got Presbytera Stacey Dorrance from St. Catherine's down in, I never get it right. Is it Greenwich Village? Is it Greenwich Village? How do you say it?
Greenwood Village.
Greenwood. I don't know where I'm getting the witch from. But Greenwood Village, which is in Denver for those of us who
South
are
Denver. Living
in the plains growing up in southern Colorado. Everything was just Denver. If you were from Aurora or Littleton, it was just all one big pile.
Yes.
My wife's from Southern California, and the only way you can tell when you leave one city and enter a new one is the street signs change colors.
Yes.
And I had no idea about that. But anyway, fantastic. We've also got Laura Tucker, a good friend of ours for, 15 plus years, probably. Both Laura and her husband and family converted into Orthodoxy right around the exact same time that Hannah and I did, and we journeyed together in that. So it's wonderful to have you here with us today. Let's start out with just a little bit about yourself, where you came into the Orthodox Church. Were you born into it? You've married a priest, obviously. You've been involved for a while. Just kind of tell us your story and how that came to be.
Okay. So I was born in Chicago, but I consider myself a Denver native because I moved here when I was 6 months old.
Okay, all right.
I was born into a Greek Orthodox family.
All right.
So raised by very faithful parents. I have two sisters, Presbytera Marika and Chrysanthi, and I got married at 21 to my high school sweetheart.
Very cool.
Ted Dorrance, now Father Theodore Dorrance. So we had an interesting journey because at the time there was no bishop here to ordain him. So we ended up in California,
Yes.
in the California metropolis. So he became ordained, and we served Oakland, we served Redondo Beach, and then he told the bishop, I want to start a mission parish.
Wow.
So he said, you're crazy, Dorrance, Bishop Anthony. But we ended up in Portland, Oregon, and began a beautiful parish there. And we were there for 20 years.
Wow, 20 years. Okay.
And during that time, I raised my 4 beautiful children, and I grew a lot in my homemaking.
Yeah.
And learned a lot about myself, sometimes homeschooling, sometimes private school, and ended up just learning and becoming a professional organizer, in addition to being a musician and being the head chanter at that time. So I've had this dual love. I love homemaking, I love music.
Yeah.
So that's kind of encompasses who I am as a person, of course, walking as well, my other passion. My husband said, I think we need to get back to Denver. And so we moved back 8 years ago.
Wow.
And by God's grace and providence, he ends up at St. Catherine, which is where he became Orthodox.
Whoa.
That is such a cool
So
story.
Father Ted is a convert.
Yes.
Then. Okay.
At
Interesting.
19, yeah.
I haven't had his, we're going to have him on sometime soon and
Yes.
get his story as well. And maybe both of you, who knows?
Yeah, he's all about parish health.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Parish health.
Yeah.
He's good at that. So we came 8 years ago, which is wonderful because my folks are here, my sisters were here, and all our kids followed us.
Oh my gosh, wow.
So
That's
I have
amazing.
4 kids and now 11 grandchildren.
Whoa.
Yeah. So we're very blessed to be
Yes,
back in the
indeed.
Denver area.
That's a big Christmas.
It's
That's a daunting Christmas list, I'm sure.
it is. Yeah.
That's fun.
Yes.
That's amazing. So much. Thank you for sharing that. And Laura, tell us a little bit about your background and story. I mean, I shared a little bit at the beginning, but just to get to know you a little better.
Yeah. So my husband and I met in Colorado Springs when we were in our early 20s, and then we got married there. He was at the Air Force Academy, so right when he graduated was when we got engaged and then got married. And then we had kind of a dramatic event happen very early in our marriage. They just a few weeks after we got married, they found a brain tumor, and that he has brain cancer, and so that has really took a sharp turn of what we expected in our family to be, and I think actually part of that journey is what kind of eventually led us to Orthodoxy, because after going through that experience, even before we had kids, the churches that we were in, that they were big evangelical churches, it started to be hard to worship and pray in that environment. I think feeling really broken and really just not okay, and so much of that worship is built on being able to engage in an emotional way that Daniel couldn't at that time. And he really was attracted to liturgy in that moment. We were a part of a small service that, while being very much in the evangelical world, was starting to incorporate some liturgical elements to it, and we found it so healing. And then one thing led to another. We had our first child several years later. We found St. Spiridon's, and so we converted with our daughter in 2016, coming up on 10 years this past year.
It's crazy, isn't it?
And then our son was born about a year and a half later, and so he came in technically cradle.
Yeah, technically so. Yeah,
Isn't that neat?
Yeah,
it is neat.
And so we've been here ever since. And
it's awesome. During that time period, I was the one exploring St. Spiridon, and Daniel or Aiden had learned about Orthodoxy as well. But then when he discovered that I had been going there, he sees Hannah coming in through the lobby of the non-denom church we were at and said, "Hey, where's Nolan at?" And she goes, "He's at that Orthodox church. I don't," And so it was just this funny. And he goes, "Oh, cool. I want to try it out." And she was like, "No," because at that time she was not on board, and it was wild. But yeah.
I remember you having secret discussions about icons and incense. On the
Yes,
back deck.
indeed. Yes, we had lots of exploration. So, but it has been a unbelievable transition, as is so often the case. Usually it's the man finding orthodoxy and dragging his wife in, and then once she embraces the beauty and sees what it's really about, she just like passes the man. And that has been so true, at least for me. I won't speak for my friend Daniel, but I know that your love of the beauty of the church has radically resonated with you, and also been something that's come into our home. And Pres Stacey, I know that is what you're beginning, and this is the third time that you've offered this course. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that course and how that connects to the home?
Okay, so I started with a group called Filled with Less, and Cynthia Damascus and Molly Saburn, and we had created a course called 6 Weeks to Sanity. And my two legs were going to be prayer and order in the home. And so that's still going. Actually, it's going to be coinciding my class coming here in January. That's kind of where I started realizing that I have something to offer with my background as an Orthodox Christian, a mom, a wife, a professional home organizer. I had something to offer to women. So I now have begun my own ministry. It's called Our Home, a Sanctuary. And the idea being very self-explanatory, that you walk into your home and it's a place where you feel a big hug. It's a place where you feel inspired. It's a place where you feel peace, love, joy. Sometimes a lot of women today, they walk into their homes and they don't feel those things. And so how do you get to that place, and how do we take our faith and apply it to our home so that we can come up with that scenario, so that we walk into church and we feel inspired and prayerful, and we walk into our home and we feel inspired and prayerful. So I started this class and I love it. I've had a wonderful group of women who are very inspired to change their lives, because it takes a lot of work to go from chaos to more order. It takes a lot of intentionality. It takes time. It takes energy. It takes forethought, So, and we live in a society which is running so fast, it's hard to take the time to stop and fix a pillow, to decide what I'm having for dinner, to clean up afterwards. So these are things that are kind of a symptom of our culture. We've become kind of frazzled.
Yeah.
And so our homes kind of reflect that.
Totally.
So that's kind of, is that answer your
Absolutely.
question?
Yeah. I mean, that's a good foundation for it. I mean,
Okay.
I know that we have struggled through various seasons as you get married and suddenly you're trying to adapt to who are the two of you, and then you finally start to figure that out, and then baby comes and you're like, who are we? And I always joke that, people with one kid have the delusion that they're going to go back to normal. People with two kids give it up entirely, and people with 3 kids go, okay, what's the new adventure going to be? And it just keeps going from there. But that's a big challenge too, these different phases of life.
Yes.
We're now at the stage in our home where our kids are old enough to start, making their own meals or like unloading the dishwasher and breaking dishes and whatever else, it's just interesting to navigate those seasons too.
Yes.
Is that part of what your course touches on? Or?
Yes. And the neat thing is it's a generational. So I have like from 20-year-olds to 70-year-olds.
Wow, that's
all
cool.
in the same class. So can you imagine what we can learn from each other?
Absolutely.
It's a lovely thing. Yes. Generally, that's the other thing. As our kids grow, we realize, I'm at a stage where maybe I can use my talents a little bit more. Oh, wow, I can actually pray through a liturgy. Wow, I can leave the house and they can babysit themselves. So as we go through these stages, our house kind of reflects that. I'm not looking for perfectionism. I'm looking for peace and order, just like general peace and order and a lot of love. Right?
I love that so much.
And then we also want to learn ourselves how to be better homemakers. And then we need to start passing that on, because the problem that's happening today is the family's falling apart. The home is falling apart in America. So we need to gather ourselves as Christians and start being intentional about passing on not just our faith, but all of the beauty and the order that comes with God, because he is a God of beauty and order. And we're called to be like him.
Yeah.
So how do we do that?
Yeah.
So yes, I believe that as we go through these transitions, we need to be flexible and adapt and bring our kids alongside us and not separate them from the process of making dinner and cleaning it up and then doing homework. I feel like we need to go this way. Sometimes we do this, just let me have peace, go to your room and I'll clean, I think we need to gather them, because I think it's a lost art and you only learn it by doing it.
Yes, so much.
Yeah. So anyway,
Yeah, that's wonderful. Any thoughts you want to share?
No, I love that so much. I feel like we are in the process of training the kids of like, hey, when we're done, we clean up
And
dinner.
the husband.
And husband. We clean up dinner as a family. And it's just like, I feel like not only is it like this prayerful routine of like getting everybody together to share the work, but it continues conversation through it. But then it's also training them, and we tell them constantly, like, we're training you to become future husbands for someone.
Yes.
And for me, that is like really important to making sure that whoever my future daughter-in-laws are prepared, and my sons are ready to care for the home, and share that responsibility. So I love this.
To know what it's like to eat as a family, to know what healthy food is.
Yes.
And, there's this trifecta. It's preparation, execution, and then the cleanup. A lot of times we ignore that cleanup. And let's just say it was a third. I think it's more like 2/5. But anyway, let's just say it was a third. When you start ignoring that all over your house, can you imagine that a third of the work is not being done? And that's what's reflected in chaos, is not finishing or completing the task.
Right.
You get out of your bed, you make it. You brush your teeth, you put it away. Okay. You eat your dinner, you clean up. You fold your laundry, you put it away. I think that's what's kind of lacking with our frazzled, hurried society, is just taking the time to complete the task. God did. He called it, the seventh, on the seventh day, he rested.
Yeah.
I finished. Christ on the cross. It is finished.
I love that.
Yeah, God finishes things, so we finish things. It's really important that we really evaluate, who are you, Lord, and how am I supposed to emulate you in my life, in my marriage, in my mothering, in my home, in my job. How do I emulate you? And so we got to find out who is God, and then we can emulate him, because we know, he's the architect of the universe. I'm the architect of my home,
Yeah.
right?
We were actually just talking about this on the way to church this morning.
Oh, what were you talking about? Do tell.
There's a tendency, I think, with the kids sometimes that they just drop their toys wherever they are and they walk away. But then it's not just the toy, it's everything. And so there's a lot of chaos and a lot of cleanup involved, or, their bedrooms. Over time, they just start getting messier and messier until it's like this huge mess that they then have to clean. And when they do clean it, they say, oh, I feel so good. Like my room is like this place I want to be in. And then when it's crazy, they're like, I don't want to be in my room. And so we were just talking about like, hey, when you're done with something, let's pick it up, or please do not walk over it. And they're like, well, sometimes it's not ours. And it's like, that's okay. We can still like share the load. And if someone left their socks lying on the floor, please just pick them up and put them in the laundry.
I love that. I call it see the work.
Yes.
Don't ignore it. Don't ignore the messes around you. Do something about it.
That's good. That's good. So good.
You made me think of something else about finishing a task. I think Yorondisa, you know what Yorondisa is? That's a abbess of a monastery. She taught me that we really need to work alongside our kids more. That we kind of say, clean your room, as if they know what that means.
Right.
And so maybe like if we could work together with them, well, this is what a made bed looks like.
Yeah.
This is what it looks like to put your folded clothes in a drawer or in a closet. I think walking alongside them makes them feel more loved and like actually tutors them in that process. And so that's something that you don't always have to do it forever, but it will help them to actually learn how to do it better and then be inspired by their own room, which is exciting, right?
That's great.
Matters, right?
We have a God who came to show us how, didn't just tell us how, right? That's I'm going to wax theological, but Christ comes and shows us what it is to be the human perfected by love and gives us the example rather than just saying, go do it yourself, because we couldn't. So I think that's a beautiful example of that. And on the way to church today, we were talking about how if you touch it, put it back. Like, don't just leave it because otherwise it snowballs and piles up on you. And I think we're constantly following around, picking things up, but I've found myself having to take the extra time to go and find the child who left it and say, let's put this away. Right. Which is even more work for the parent to do because it's like, I could be just done with it and I got 200 things to put away. So that's interesting. It's interesting how all of this is, it's all interconnected. Everything in fact, my parents used to say growing up that they could tell the state of my like mental health by how clean or not my room was, because I was a very orderly kid. I liked things to be where they belonged. But if it was chaos in there, they knew something was going on in my world. And so they checked in, and it's such a reflection of our inner life too, right?
And it's interesting. It's a reflection, and it also affects us. For example, they know that if there's chaos around you, it actually affects your health. Your blood pressure goes up. Your cortisol levels go up. Your heart rate increases when you look at something that's chaotic, and then you look at something that's kind of straightened. There's like this physical, spiritual health connection, between what we're seeing and experiencing and living in, and how we feel on the inside. I think that's really important, because if kids are living in chaos, guess what? There's reasons why they're stressed. There's reasons why they have anxiety.
Absolutely.
There's reasons why they're struggling. Maybe just the mess at home might be affecting them. And I think if we can at least minimize that, we've already addressed part of the anxiety that our generation, this generation, is suffering. Just cook a good meal. Clean up after it. Help them with homework. Help them get a clean room, Make sure he's getting enough sleep. Let's just go back to basics. Basic parenting 101.
That was a huge thing for me with homeschool, is just the kids were at such different levels in class. One of our kids was almost too bright for even the gifted and talented. And they're like, he's bored and causing chaos and because he's bored. And then one of them was behind and needing extra help. And so then, the stress of feeling like he's going to fall behind his peers. And then one who kind of just floated along and didn't really care. And I was like, let's just bring them back home and really care for them in where they're at with, and I can tailor their reading or whatever it is, whatever lesson we're doing, to exactly where they need to be.
Yeah, wonderful.
Yeah.
They can help each other too.
They can, and they do, and it's so sweet.
That is sweet.
Sometimes they'll get their little laptops and go sit on the couch together or read books together. And it's like, oh, I love this.
Beautiful.
One curiosity I have is, my perspective in the past was to try to keep everything so orderly that life couldn't happen in the home. And, my tendency towards that was interesting. I think you battled against that for a long time too. So it's like there really is this balance that we have to strike, right?
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know if you know that magazine. It's called Good Housekeeping. About, I don't know how many years ago, 15 years ago, they changed the name. They, instead of saying Good Housekeeping, they called it Good Enough Housekeeping. And I thought that was brilliant, because we're not looking for perfection, right? We're looking for a general good. We're looking to function well. right?
Yes.
And it doesn't have to be perfect. Sometimes if we're looking for perfection, and when he comes and sits down, I'm going to talk about this for a second.
Sorry.
I think that's okay. When I think of perfection, I think about getting A+ in certain areas of my life and getting D's in others. That's what perfectionism is. It's hyper-focused on a few things, and I'm going to do this so well. In the meantime, Rome's burning, right?
Yeah.
So what we want to do is what my dad told me to do. Stacey, be a B+ student. I didn't understand that, but now I know, because he's 89 and he has been a B+ student his whole life. And what does that mean?
Balance.
It means that he has quality in many areas of his
Yeah.
life. He used to hike. He walked. He still rides his bike on
That's
the High
cool.
Line
That's
Canal
amazing.
at 89.
Wow.
Why? Because he always chugged along at a good pace. He wasn't a perfectionist. He was a choir director for 70 years. He was a dentist. You know, he just had so many multifaceted parts of his personality at a B+ level, and his quality of life has been like out the roof, because he accepted that I'm not perfect in everything. I'm good in many things. And he enjoyed his life. Now, everybody has their own personality and temperament, but I do think as a homemaker, if we can lower the standard in a few areas, we'll actually raise the standard in a few others. And I think we'll start feeling that click point as a
Yeah.
perfectionist and a type A personality.
Yeah,
If that's who
totally.
you are, I understand that.
Yeah.
And it can bring a lot of stress to the family when you're that type A person, believe me. I know
Oh
that.
yeah. I become a tyrant.
Yeah. Well, and when you aim for perfection, you inevitably just get failure, and then you feel defeated, and then it's so easy to get stuck there
Yes. it
So
is.
true.
and overwhelmed by all the things that can be done. And if you are not aiming perfection, it's just like, okay, well, there's this one thing that I can do right now today.
That's right.
And it's easier to.
And yet it's interesting. God called us to be perfect. So how does that fit in the equation? I think that's an interesting question. And my spiritual father gave me some advice many years ago that helped me. I go, why am I striving? Why do I drive myself crazy? He goes, well, Presbytera, you were made for perfection. You were put in a garden. You had a perfect relationship with God at that time. He said, we were made to be perfect. So the striving is natural. It's not sinful. But now that we live in this kind of fallen world, we have to figure out and balance out between relations, between tasks. Who am I, and what am I striving for, and what am I putting first? You remember Stephen Covey, is it? That said, you know, you're going to go for the golden egg and kill the goose? Am I going to have a perfect room and a poor child that's kind of injured by my tirades?
Right.
Or, you know, where am I going to find that click point where things are peaceful and joyful, and yet enough order and good enough housekeeping, right? So that I can enjoy my life and my home and the people in it. This is the struggle. And yeah.
There's so much fear that drives my perfectionism. It's not a perfectionism that is looking for wholeness, like perfectly whole, or striving for that order like we were created for. It's more of a self-judgment and a fear of not being good enough that drives. And what I noticed is that for my home, it was creating sterility, I would almost call it. You know, I had actually bought a house before I ever met my wife. And so when we got married, she moved into the bachelor pad. And it was like pulling teeth to get me to relinquish her ability. And frankly, it's been a long time. And it grieves me to look back and think how locked down I've been on wanting everything to be, you know, stable and exactly one way, but not alive in a lot of ways. And so I've had to like release that and say, don't be afraid of the chaos to a degree.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the chaos is really, really disruptive to my sanity. So it's finding that equilibrium, that balance. I love what you said about the B+ student, because I always think of it like the Star Trek, where it's like all power to the front shields, because you're afraid of the attack. And I always imagine, like, in my body and in my life, I'm putting all my power towards one thing. Meanwhile, you know, this part of my life is like sub-zero temperature because it has no energy. It's dying or whatever. It's such an imbalance, right? And it's fear-driven a lot of times, at least for me. So that's fascinating.
It is. It makes me think about not letting, sounds kind of crazy, but not letting God in. Is that we fear that we're not good enough, fear
Right.
that someone's going to see our messiness, fear that I'm going to lose control.
Yes.
I think you're right. Fear, it is our perfect love casts out fear. Is that St. Anthony? we need to embrace that God made me a spiritual and material person in this world, and that somehow I have to find the harmony between being relational and loving and prayerful and have a little beautiful thing here, have an orderly dinner that's not too chaotic. It's like we're the crown of creation. And so somehow in our personhood, we have to struggle our soul, our body. At what point is my life reflecting God?
Beautiful.
I don't know. Is that
No, that's amazing.
helpful?
That's so good. It is. What's been the greatest struggle the two of you have encountered in the art of homemaking? I mean, you had an Instagram account or have one called Growing This Home. I mean, this has been something central
I've
to
been
your...
letting it die.
You've been letting it die slowly.
Only
this
because
theme,
I
right? Like-
realized that I was feeding more energy into the Instagram than I was
Than
to
your
my
home?
kids. Yes.
You were
And
no
so-
longer growing the home.
Good mama.
Yeah.
You know how hard that is to do? Good job.
Well,
Put your
thank you.
priorities right.
Yes. I have such a heart for like helping other people and bringing women to the faith and families. And it was such a beautiful gift and platform. But I also like look back and think like when I was present with my kids, I was also Instagramming it. And I don't think that was the right thing to do. So now I'm just taking a step back and I might post occasionally, but yeah, so my platform doesn't exist anymore.
It's okay. You have a little window of time with those boys.
Yes.
It's going to go very fast. Look at my kids are all grown up.
Yeah.
I feel like that I do post like a yearly birthday thing and I'm like, how are we here? Which I'm sure you feel that way because I look at your daughter and I'm like, how is she this old?
Yeah.
Oh,
Right. Yeah. It's wild.
Adelaide is just a little bit older than our oldest.
okay.
I'm 1 year away from having a teenager.
God
I don't know
bless
how
you.
That's crazy.
But she's like babysitting and doing, I'm like,
I love that age. Everybody's like teenagers. I'm like, are you kidding? That was my favorite stage.
Aw.
They could babysit each other. They were fun. You could talk to them about real things. That was great.
That's cool.
Yeah.
my middle child's very introspective. So he does a lot of like, I need to talk to you. And so we'll like sit and have serious conversations away from everybody. And he
Thank God
just
for
asks
that.
about life.
That's beautiful.
I feel like it's such a blessing, and I feel very honored that they have this trust with me, I think, to bring me into, like, they're not afraid to ask some, like, hard, difficult questions and sometimes embarrassing questions that they just feel, like, really safe to talk about it. So I'm very, like, protective over the boys' feelings and their trust.
That is our home as sanctuary. That. To get to the place where you've developed trust like that with your kids, you have a nice environment, they're eating healthy foods, they're sleeping, they're doing their, whatever it is. That is the goal, is just to have a place where the kids feel safe and they can ask the questions. Yeah.
It's
God
amazing.
bless you guys. It's
It's
awesome.
amazing. Well, tell us more about the structure of the program and what what you need to do to participate. And
Okay.
is there another chance in the future, or when does how
So
does that
at
work?
this point, I'm looking at a spring class, trying to get it before Lent. I ended up going 2 weeks into Lent. Wasn't my favorite thing,
Sure.
and then a fall class.
Okay.
Summer, I
Great.
want people to get away. I don't want them to be focused on, they need a vacation and relax and do recreation. So I'm offering 2 courses. This one starts on Tuesday. And you can still sign up. I thought somehow I'd love to give a $10 discount. So maybe I'll give my email. Somebody can email me if they want to get that discount.
Sure, we can figure something out.
Okay.
We'll put it in the
And-
description. or
yes,
something
is
like
that okay?
Yeah.
So it's an 8-week class. I had it as a 10-week class in the fall, but because of Lent, I have to make it 8 weeks. So I thought, okay, I'll make it an 8-week class. Hour and 15 minutes. It's going to be, I have a lovely PowerPoint teaching, connecting the church, God, who God is, his church, and then to us in our homes, in our lives. So that's the main connection I really want to impart to women, is the big why. Why? Why should I clean my house? Why should I set table? Why should I make a bed? Why should it, we don't know why, so we don't do it. Once you realize, because that's what God is calling me to, then you realize, the church is beautiful and functional. I'm called to bring beauty and function to my home and my life. So that's what I teach for 8 weeks. And I have, my syllabus is over there, but 8 weeks, and it covers who God is. I'm the architect of my life, so therefore I'm the steward. talks about my home and the order in it, my health and imparting health to my family, my finances. Those are God's. I'm a steward of those. So that's kind of
Yeah, that's great.
yeah, those are the kinds of things.
fantastic.
And I'm really trying to create a community of women that support each other,
Yeah.
because we don't want to be alone. Nobody wants to be alone in this.
No.
And it's fun when you feel like, we have this little chat group and we share pictures and we talk about our struggles, we talk about our victories. We need that as women. And if it's going to be virtual, fine. However we can achieve it, that if that's what it takes. So
Awesome.
I do it on Zoom, and yeah.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Well, how do they find out more information? Do you have a place online they can go, or do they email you, or
Yeah.
what does that look like?
So they can go to my website, www.ourhomeassanctuary.com.
Okay, great.
My email, we'll put that in
Sure.
the chat box.
Yep.
And I think you can go to my Facebook page, the same, Our Home is Sanctuary. I think my website is a good place to start, because it kind of shows you what I'm doing, and then a place to sign up there. And I would, if you want, do it with a friend, do it with a sister, do it, because we had a couple groups like that, and I just felt like they really grew as a family, because they had each other to support, through this process, which can be kind of daunting. Some of these women were really struggling, like, I can't do this. I'm like, you can. We're going to take baby steps. Just organize your silverware drawer. Can you just start with that? And they're like, yeah, I can do
She tackled
that.
the spice drawer finally after.
you go.
Not like you. I was expecting it, but like after 15 years of marriage, she was like, "I'm done," and she bought the things on Amazon. Organized. It's amazing. It's the best spice drawer I've ever seen in anybody's house.
I bet you
So
use them
nice.
more than you would have.
I know where things are, so I
Yeah.
can.
Even
yeah.
my kids, like, they read the spice labels
Isn't
now.
that sweet?
Yes.
Yeah.
It is.
I want to do this class, actually. I was just thinking maybe the fall one, if it's
Really?
short notice, but with a group of women that we used to have like a mommies group at St. Spiridon, which now we've all grown out of.
Yeah.
I think they started another mommies group with the younger women. But now for all of us women who have been kind of in this, I don't know what we do with our time or our energy right now, I guess.
Yes.
Take our kids to play dates and school.
There's a lady, her name was Fly Lady, and she says, finding your calling begins with getting your house in order. You're going to use your talents more if your house is in order, if it's a springboard, if it's a place that you like, if it's a place that you're inspired from. You're going to use your talents more. And isn't that what Christ calls us to? I gave you 2. Where's your 2? I gave you 3. Where's your 3? Oh, you hit it in the ground? What? I didn't expect that. I wanted you to grow it. He wants us to use our talents, But it's hard to do that when you got a big mess behind you.
Yes.
We have to eliminate and get down to what's essential and what we need and what we want. And then all of a sudden we have this freedom to self-discover, to be more creative. It's a springboard to our life in Christ. In Christ. I mean, this isn't just an end in itself. So I have a perfect house. No. It's a springboard so that you can serve Christ with your talents, that you can love the people around you more. Enjoy your life. Enjoy your home. Beautiful, right? Yeah.
I like what you said about the just the starting with baby steps, because it reminds me of actually when we all came into the church. It's you come in and you're all gung ho, and there's so many things
Try
to
to
do.
do everything
You try
for
to
the
do
fast.
the super long prayer roll, and you start to, and if anything, I think Father Evan's job in those years was very much like, no, do less, say fewer prayers, like
Right.
and kind of helping us get over that early beginning, because I think so much of the think of getting your house clean, getting it in order, let alone getting it making it beautiful, making it something special, or even thinking of it as a place of peace can just feel, I think so often over the years of going through, we've had struggles with sibling conflicts and with anxiety or things with our kids, behavioral stuff, to very strong-willed, high-energy kids, and then my husband's been dealing with cancer for 16 years, and life has felt hard, and I think a lot of times I just feel like I'm trying to keep everyone from drowning. That is it. Like every day I'm just trying to keep everyone's heads above water. If I get kids fed, that's like a victory at the end of the day and stuff. And so it can feel overwhelming, or even just like there's no way I can even attain to having a beautiful, peaceful, ordered home. But I think that whole baby steps thing, how when you're first coming into the church, for example, you start to just say the Our Father. I know there was a time when it was Father Evan's like, just do that. Can you do that? Or can you just go and stand in your icon corner and be silent for a few minutes if that's where you're going to start? But start somewhere and make those small. And then it brings more freedom and more peace. And then things that would have seemed overwhelming if you just kind of aim up here suddenly start to open up and you feel freedom.
If I'm feeling stressed out, I just go to the kitchen and open the spice drawer. And I just stand there for a few minutes. It feels orderly. Okay, but no, it's absolutely right. It's absolutely. It's like this small. If you can just conquer a corner of something, you're taking ground in a way. Right?
You're reclaiming.
Yeah.
You're reclaiming. There was a lady. She had married her husband, and she's like, "Do you care about making your bed?" He goes, "No, I don't care about making." So for 12, 15 years, she never made a bed. Well, she took the class, started making her bed. And he's like, "Wow, I like going into a made bed." And she's like, "I had no idea that it would impact him."
It's funny.
He was the one that was like, "I like this," and isn't that interesting? Yeah.
Yeah, so
We
cool.
don't make our beds, so we should do that.
It's the first act of the
I try to
At
straighten.
night, he turns on we have a bed heater, and so he goes and he turns it on and he makes the bed really quick on my side, and it's very nice to get into a made bed that's warm every night.
My wife is outing me publicly. You don't make your bed. You don't.
But you do it for her.
Well, it's,
Barney
we're
Fife says
taking
order is the first order of the day.
Oh, that's good.
I think if you there's a general, I can't remember, admiral, and he wrote a bed on I wrote a book on making your bed and how important it is and how it impacts the rest of your life. It's like you've set up your life, you've set up your day, because I did the first task, and that is, Christ said, pick up your pallet and walk. He didn't say just go on out. Pick up your pallet. Well, I think that's interesting. You're responsible for that pallet. Pick it up. You're responsible for that bed. Make it, right? Little things that we can connect to Christ. Also, we think, oh, he was a carpenter. He was probably kind of messy. Look at the church. Is there anything messy about the church? Except for us sinners. We're the messy part of it. The dome, the iconostasis, the altar, the nave, the narthex, the exonarthex. There's nothing that's not beautiful in the church. And that's who Christ is. That is our Jesus. That's who he is, the God of order and beauty. And so, anyway.
I have to out Father Evan really quick because it's very known in our parish. He hates glitter. And so,
interesting.
He's a neat freak. It's good. Yeah.
It's a very wonderful thing. But there was one year when our first Pascha that we had in our new building after remodeling, and all the flowers that had been thrown for Holy Friday evening on the Cavoucleon, after everybody left, he was like on his hands and knees, like scrubbing the grout.
Because it was like white tile with red rose petals that had kind of stained it a little bit.
And so I was like helping him, and he's like, oh, "It's okay, I'm fine."
Good for him. It's God's house.
Which kid was it that thought Father Evan had a vacuum cleaner at home?
Adelaide.
Was that her?
Yeah. So my daughter, she was, I don't know, 3 maybe at the time, and she saw a vacuum and she pointed to it and she said, "Father Evan." And she's always seen him like do the vacuum
Because he's vacuuming.
God bless him. Yeah. God bless him.
it's
We
wonderful.
care for God's house.
Yeah.
Yes, we do. That's what we were taught.
I think it's good leadership in the parish. I've seen it like being modeled by everybody else. It's like the priest, he doesn't like tell everybody to do it. He models it himself.
Wonderful.
And I think that everybody, at least if you've been there long enough, like you take pride in the parish and you're helping pick it up too. So,
And we want to inspire that in our family.
yes.
We do. But it's not easy. I promise you. I had many ugly moments in my life as a mother.
I'm very excited to learn more from you.
Just do our best and grow. Just grow. Yeah.
Beautiful. Well, this has been wonderful. And if you'd like to learn more, you can repeat the website again. It was
ourhomeassanctuary.com. At this point, you still have to put the www in front of it.
Sure.
I'm working on that.
Okay. All right. We'll put the www in front of that. ourhomeassanctuary.com. You can check that out, and we'll put more information in the description on the video. It was a joy. Thank you, Laura. Thank you, Presbytera, for coming up, and looking forward to seeing what you learn from this, because it sounds like you're jumping in, so that's going to be fantastic.
Jump into this.
Awesome.
Thank you for having me, and it's really cool how we got to. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Glory to God.